Hey, Dr. Karen here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And boy, it's been quite the week. I don't know if you felt it in your body, but I have been primarily parasympathetic. Well, I guess that's not true when I'm in the middle of a CrossFit workout. However, later in the day, I tend to be parasympathetic, meaning I'm into this major relaxation mode. And for some of you, you might have felt it as a fatigue or a tiredness, almost like you could just sit there and just binge watch Netflix or, watch paint dry or something on the wall. So this is a great opportunity for us to really get into stillness because it's easier when we're in that parasympathetic or relaxed state. It's actually a healing state. So why are we globally in a healing state? Well, there was a heck of a lot of people, probably more than 1 million people, meditating on 444. It was an amazing gateway. I'm not an expert in that arena. However, I did get an email and some posts around a global meditation at 10:45 on April 4th. And amazingly, according to the folks that are keeping track of the Schumann resonance, there was a big spike in the graph. And that is not surprising because when we can meditate together, when we can even be in stillness together, amazing things happen in the world. And just seeing that spike in the Schumann resonance just gives us a hint of what's really going on, that we can make a difference one individual at a time. And when each of us are conscious and in a group and doing it with a group intention for peace, prosperity, love, happiness, it can be super powerful. So this relaxation response is like the healing detox, if you will, of this amazing global meditation. And here's the thing. Why is it that we don't do this global meditation every week or every day? People are like, well, we're busy. We got stuff to do. There's things to do, right? Got it. However, when we are all our intentions are on the same target with peace, happiness, prosperity, love for all, it's amazing how powerful that can be. And even without a global meditation, one of the things that each of us can do is to tap into that area, that stillness, that meditative space in various times during the day. What I've noticed is as I go into that space, and the way I do it is through stillness, through observing internal movement. That's something that I've described because it's super easy for me. I can just, right now, even as I'm talking to you, I can feel the vibes in my body, just the waves. I can feel how high they are, where they are in the body, where it is, where it isn't, where it's quieter, where it's greater. I can pay attention to that in the background and be in my body and feel it while I'm talking to you. I call that stillness on the fly. So if we can do that in our waking consciousness, I got to tell you, that is so powerful. Now, the magic number is 9 to 10% of our waking time aware of pure awareness. That's when auto healing and things, what we can call magic or alchemy, that's when that happens. The signs, the synchronicities come through, the money comes through, all sorts of problems have solutions that come through. And that's the place where your creativity, your innovation, and solutions come through. It's like you get quiet enough in your mind because you're paying attention so much to your body. Your guide team, God team, spirit team can actually give you some hints, your angels. You ask a question, and when you get quiet, that's where you get that answer. Now, here's the thing. People are like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to be still because I'm anxious and fearful and, all the stuff's going on in the news, or my husband's watching the news, or my kids playing video games, and, I can't work at home, all this kind of stress. And I hear you. This is definitely challenging. And at the same time, we have amazing opportunities, and people are really taking advantage of it, of being at home, being with their loved ones, finally taking the time to do those self-care things they said they were going to do, but just never had time because they were going to work and shopping and doing all the stuff. Myself too. I just started learning some CrossFit moves from my husband, who was really passionate about CrossFit, and he had the intuitive foresight to actually build a mini CrossFit gym at home, which I thought was rather strange months ago, but now it makes sense because he can't go to the gym, and he loves it. So I've been doing some of that. I've been doing some face yoga. I've been doing some of the power plate. I've started some off-ice training with one of my skating coaches. And so it's been really interesting what our choices are. Now, what's really interesting that's happening is behind the scenes, the evolution of humanity. Now, humanity, I'm not talking about mass consciousness, which I send healing to every day, because a lot of the so-called low vibes of mass consciousness, that fear and that anxiety and that, whatever, that tends to penetrate a lot of people's energy field as a resonance. So if they have a little bit of resonance in them of that fear, then they resonate with mass consciousness, and then they start feeling mass consciousness as stuff, not that pleasant. So I'm doing healings pretty much every day on mass consciousness, daytime, nighttime. And there's certain things I'm sure I'm not allowed to heal, or it's not my role to heal. So I'm working on that. But humanity, very interesting, was when I was testing with Topican healing, humanity, there was something separate that I needed to pay attention to. So, and it had to do with humanity as in the human body, like each individual human person, not mass consciousness, which is more subconscious mind, like a hive mind thing. This was actually humanity as in the people, the actual people. And I thought, well, this is very curious. This is the first time that I've been called to do healing on all of humanity as like embody, like as a people. So the one thing, although it was not a healing, the one thing that came up, which I mentioned a little while ago, was that the blood was changing. The water in our bodies is evolving, and this is a natural evolution, which is a good thing. So the blood evolved to, or recalibrated to, a different space, and it took days and days and days for us to do this. This is not something that I could make faster or slower, or it just is what it, is what it is. So I believe that has been complete. So the blood of all humanity has been upgraded and evolved and recalibrated to that place, that new electromagnetic field, that new electromagnetic vibration, if you will. And what the purpose of that is having to do with the experience of oneness, the ability to experience oneness in a human body. I thought that was super interesting. So then that wasn't it. There's other water in our body. The next piece to evolve had to do with the fluid that flows between the layers of our fascia. Now the fascia layers are kind of where the acupuncture points are, the meridians are, and it's like a liquid crystal, which we call in science terms EZ water or exclusion zone water. In that space, it flows in that space. So it's already structured water. But what's really interesting is that even that is recalibrating and evolving for all of humanity. So when I asked her, well, what is that about? And the answer was really interesting. It has to do with positive manifesting. So the ability of humanity as a whole to positively manifest what is for the highest and greatest good. So somehow improving or increasing that possibility. So again, that's a recalibration, it's an evolution, it's a positive thing. Now there is going to be a third phase for humanity's physical evolution on a spiritual plane, and that has to do with the water inside of ourselves, the cytoplasm. I don't know if you had listened to my radio show where I interviewed Dr. Thomas Cowan a couple of weeks ago on the cancer, the biology of water and cancer. Very, very interesting show, so check it out. So the cytoplasm, the water signaling in cytoplasm is going to be evolving too, and most likely will begin next week. So we've been doing a lot of healing for ourselves, but also for humanity as a whole. Now, these are things naturally occurring. This is not something that I'm, interjecting or interfering with or anything like that. I'm just kind of like the note taker, like the investigative journalist, writing these things down. But the one thing I did do this week was very interesting, and it was through a client session that this came up. And that humanity as a whole could use a positive morphic field, a more evolved positive morphic field. Now, up to that point, I had not actually downloaded a positive morphic field to all of humanity, at least not that I could remember, and not an automatic alignment activator, which is a very special positive morphic field that actually automatically heals and evolves on its own. And so these can only be created by people with Topocan healing power levels of 10. And how do you get to power level of 10? Well, you just practice Topocan healing. That's how you get there, right? So it's not like, it's like good or bad or better, somebody's better than another. It's just, it's our power to attend and intend. Okay, that's really what the power level is, my understanding. So when you have a Topocan healing power of 10, you can actually create bubbles, positive morphic fields, okay, that do work on its own without you consciously having to tell it what to do. That's what AAAs are. So the one that wanted to be downloaded or ready to be downloaded to humanity was, get this, the positive morphic field of self-responsibility. Wow. Okay. Now, according to my friend Jenny No, who is an amazing energy healer, she got messages from Source a while back that for each individual, for us to be happy, healthy, prosperous, and also financially prosperous, so earning $100,000 a year or more, we actually need 3 positive morphic fields at 100%. We need self-responsibility, self-forgiveness, and forgiveness of others. And these are things that you can test in yourself. If you know divine muscle testing, just ask, what's my self-responsibility score? What's my self-forgiveness score? What's my forgiveness of others score out of 100%? Right? And the intention is to get that to 100%, to evolve to that level. And you can do Topocan healing, of course, to get that. But this is very interesting because it's the positive morphic field of the most evolved version of self-responsibility that is now available to be downloaded to all of humanity. And I got permission or guided to do that. So I created a AAA, and it has been downloaded and activated to all of humanity. I don't know how that's going to play out. I have no idea. I'm not going to presuppose that, all of a sudden, every single individual on the planet is going to be super responsible. I don't know that. However, the blueprint is there. The blueprint is there. So that's what the positive morphic fields are. They're blueprints. Some people do not have certain blueprints or are not connected to them, so it makes it very difficult for them to manifest those things in their life, including things like joy. Sometimes people don't have the positive morphic field of joy, or they're not connected to that positive morphic field. And so we can reconnect them by just downloading and activating that positive morphic field or blueprint to them. So just because, for example, I can download the blueprint of having done a double axel in figure skating, okay, does not necessarily mean that I can go out tomorrow. Well, the rings are closed. But anyway, it doesn't mean that I can go out and do a double axel right away. But the blueprint is there, and I can tap into that blueprint. And so it's up to me to attend to it, feel it, practice it. So the blueprint is like a map. And then the body needs to then, in my case, needs to develop the habit around that. But I can tell you so many times in the past where I didn't have time to practice. This years ago, 20 years ago, when I learned skating, and my coach Jack Devitt would say to me, "Did you practice? Wow, this is much better." And I'm thinking, no, I didn't, right? I didn't get on the ice. I didn't have time. But what I did was practiced in here. Kept doing it over and over again in here. So this is the power of the mind. This is the things that you can do. And now that we have that positive morphic field, that AAA that's downloaded to humanity, I'm just curious to see how that pans out. So let's talk a little bit about the COVID-19 and the whole pandemic thing. Now, there's a lot of videos, a lot of links being sent to me, being posted by family, friends, tribe members, clients, healers, that kind of thing. And a lot of times they say, well, what do you think of this? You're a doctor. What do you think of this? Well, here's the thing. Does the COVID virus exist? Yes, it does. Is it necessarily pathogenic, meaning that can it affect humans? And viruses are not living, so they have to use our own machinery to replicate itself. The answer is yes. So, and there's certain things I will not answer because it's not probably for my personal highest and greatest good to answer, but it doesn't really matter what the answer is. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's a weapon or not a weapon. It doesn't matter if it's associated or not associated with 5G or electromagnetic frequencies, okay? Here's the thing. If the electromagnetic frequencies, do they make the average person's body weaker? The answer is yes. Okay, there's instrumentation that shows that. All right, it's not like rocket science. Okay, you can even do a simple muscle test and you can show that. I do that all the time with the kids and, you know, the academies and, you know, the young people. They just freak out, right? And I say, don't have your cell phone on when you sleep, you know, and they wonder why these kids are depressed or anxious all the time. They're radiating their brains all night long. Anyway, I digress. The thing is that if you have been taking care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically, and you know, and sometimes this does require some training, how to do that, then you can change the channel, so to speak, what frequency you're at. So in other words, are you a frequency match for being infected with the coronavirus or not? You know what I mean? If you're not a frequency match, you don't get infected. I know that sounds kind of woo-woo and weird, stuff like that, but this is really quantum physics, and I'm not prepared to give a whole quantum physics lesson here. There's many people that do it much better than I do, okay? There's some really great things on Gaia TV. Highly recommend. Inner Evolution is a good one by Bruce Lipton. Check it out. So he talks about quantum physics, Newtonian physics, how we got a whole bunch of things wrong in biology. The stuff I learned in medical school, a lot of it was wrong related to biology. So that's why we're in the pickle we are right now with all this chronic disease and everything like that. But your thoughts have a lot to do with it. Your attitudes has a lot to do with it. Your emotions have a lot to do with it. So here's the thing. If you are feeling polarized by the whole coronavirus thing, whether it be conspiracy, non-conspiracy, people are on Facebook saying other people are idiots, things like that. Those are all polarizing things, okay? So if you're feeling polarized, then you kind of know you're not really in alignment. Because a lot of it is like you're a spiritual person or you're a spirit having a human experience. If you can come back to that place of you, of centeredness, it doesn't really matter as much what it is. Is it shocking the first time that I learned that, my colleagues, psychiatrists, were taking millions of dollars from the drug company as a little payoff to put their name on a paper that they didn't actually write, nor did they actually do the experiments? Yeah, it was shocking. I was so shocked for days. I think I didn't even know how to be mad until later. And that was my first awakening, whoa, the world is not what they told it was, right? And so, yes, I watched, a whole bunch of other documentaries after that. For the Greater Good. Bot is a great documentary, like all these food documentaries talking about the different businesses and corporate and things like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, at the end of, watching those things, even though I may get temporarily upset or angry or things like that, then I get empowered, right? Because then I go, I can make different choices and I can make my energy, because I know my energy then expands in a light radius that can help and support other people. And the bigger my energy is, the more calm and confident and certain I am, the more the world can feel that way. So it's not us against them. It's not, the natural people against the corporations or the 5G people against health or, anything like that. That's all polarization. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all this polarity game, good and evil, all that stuff that we play out in our reality. Yes, we can make choices for sure, but your job is to stay centered and calm in the eye of the hurricane and be curious. Make good choices. But don't get sucked into the drama. Don't get sucked into the polarization. And I know there's well-meaning people out there, that are putting up videos, trying to alert us to conspiracy theories and things like that. Okay, but that video may or may not be for your highest and greatest good to watch, because you may not be at that center place where you can take it. Okay, so what might be a light score of 90% for me to watch may be a 40% for you to watch. So one needs to discern. So you might be feeling, okay, so I'm feeling somewhat anxious, Dr. Karen. I feel somewhat overwhelmed. I feel uncertainty. And you're telling me that I can be empowered, that I can be calm, that I can be more certain or confident. How's that happen in this pandemic? Well, I do have a solution for you. May not be the solution for everyone, but of course, as you know, I'm a medical doctor and a doctor of light medicine. So in that space, I love working with frequency. I love working with energy, and I love teaching people how to wield their own power in order to change that channel, right? In order to change their frequency. And so you can do this for the coronavirus. You can do this for whatever it is you want. So I want to give you kind of a head start, kind of like a fast track program on how to do this, because now it's urgent, right? Now it's urgent. We have the COVID-19 thing. It's like, okay, let's get empowered. Let's give you some certainty that you know your immune systems are running. And yes, there's more than one. So you're like, okay, did you know that? Okay, so yes, so you have at least 3. Okay, so you have 3 immune systems for this, being that you are. Wouldn't you love to know how healthy and happy they are in any minute and be able to test that in 3 seconds or less? Or 30 seconds or less, depending on how fast your divine muscle testing is, right? It'd be really cool to know, because if you keep tabs on that every day and you reboot and reset them, you have that confidence. You can go outside and, go shopping and not feel so scared that you're going to catch something. It just pains me to see people being scared about that. You can do that. And then what about your own sovereignty, right? We're not just talking about, physical boundaries and being physically isolated or socially isolated. I'm talking about your emotional boundaries. I'm talking about your mental boundaries. What negative thought forms, what negative emotions are floating around in mass consciousness or TV or media that have stuck to your field that you may now be feeling, and that may actually make you feel sick or anxious, or literally even give people physical pain if they're highly sensitive. Not cool, right? I think it's really important that you learn how to discern these things and how to clear your fields and how to regain your sovereignty, restore your sovereignty on all levels, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, dimensionally, right? Wouldn't that be cool? And then what about this? How about knowing which article that you should or shouldn't read? What would be for your highest and greatest good? Wouldn't it be great to have a system to discern that, so you don't waste your time watching 4 hours of videos that now you're totally depressed and anxious because you just watched them and they were supposed to be helpful? Right? Okay, so that's what I really want to help you with. So I did a masterclass last Saturday. I don't know if you got a hold of it, but it was called Infection Resilience, where I talked about the framework of how to do this. So if you did not watch that class, okay, I'm taking it down the end of Saturday, because we are doing a program next week called Divine Design Training, where you're going to get to work with me, you and your whole household, actually. One price for everyone. Doesn't matter if you have 10 people in your household that live there or 2. It's the same price for everyone. And what's going to happen is that we're going to go through each of these things for you. And your energetic immunity to the coronavirus, we're going to check that as well, and then make some corrections or reconfigurations. Let's put it that way, not corrections. We're going to check your 3 immune systems. We're going to check your family members' 3 immune systems. We're going to reboot and reset. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to give you cheat sheets on how to do it. I'm going to give you the Topocan Healing directives for how to do it. I'm going to give you cheat sheets on how to test it if you want to test it for your family, right? And how you discern articles that are for your highest and greatest good. I'm going to give you my system, how to do that. So you don't have to spend 4 hours watching videos that are not for your highest and greatest good and you get depressed. You can spend 3 minutes and test it and go, nope, not that one. Nope, not that. Yes, that one. Let me watch that one. Wouldn't that be so much greater? So you can have more clarity, right? You can have that feeling of more confidence, more certainty. Wouldn't that be great? So the thing is that if you're not sure, you're not sure whether you want to join me live, I just want to let you know I don't do live stuff that often. Okay, the very, very select group of my students get to train with me live, but in this case, because of COVID-19, because it's so important, I think that I decided to open it up to, other people. So it's going to be 4 days. It's going to be 10 to 11 a.m. in the morning. Everything's going to be recorded. Ideally, I'd love for you to be there in person. Not all your family members need to be there, but one person in the family ideally will be there, because they're going to hold the frequency and the space for us to do the healing. And but of course, you can do it on the replay as well. So we're going to do all these things for you and with you. However, if you already know how to do dopagan healing, if you already know how to do divine muscle testing, watch the Infection Resilience Masterclass, right? Watch that first, get to work on it for yourself. You have the whole framework there. We're going to do some extra stuff, of course, in the live classes, but the whole framework is there for you to do. So run with it, share it, tell people about it, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and post the links to all of that so you can check it out, see it's for you. Just to let you know, we are closing at midnight on Saturday for registrations for the live class. I only have spots for 99 households. That's as big as a container as I'm choosing to do in this iteration. Some people are asking, am I going to do it live again? The answer right now is no. Possibly yes in the next pandemic. Yeah, these things occur in cycles. So yeah, that might be 3 years from now. So if you were like, oh my gosh, I'd really love Dr. Karen to check my immune system, to check my family's immune system so we can feel confident and certain that we're okay and, you know, what we need to do to protect ourselves. Yeah, so join the class so I could do that for you. Got it? All right, so just a quickie announcement. So on Monday's radio show, Light Warrior Radio, I am interviewing Tom Palladino. So he's going to tell us all about scalar energy and how scalar energy can help us break up pathogens like viruses and bacteria and things like that. So energy is really, you know, the new medicine these days. I'm not poo-pooing, you know, herbs or supplements or ancient Chinese, you know, medicine or anything like that. But the thing is your body's responding to the frequency that's coming off those biologicals. So we're talking about frequency, we're talking about healing, and Tom's going to give us yet another option of how we can stay happier and healthier with frequency. So please join me at 12 noon on Monday for Light Warrior Radio. I'll post the link below, and I hope to see you there. We'll be answering some live questions. So this is this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. Until next time, lots of love and stay safe and healthy. Bye for now.